All right. With probability and statistics, there's some pieces that you probably remember from long ago, and those are your mean, median, and mode. Okay? Remember, your mode is what happens most. Your median is in the middle, and then the mean is really your average. All right, so the first thing that you always want to do is put them in order. So for set 1, I have 35 and 35 are my lowest. The next number that I have high is 41. Then I've got 68 and then 83. All right. For set 2, I've got 5 is my lowest, and then 8. Notice how I'm either marking them or crossing them off. That way I'm not likely to repeat them or forget them or make a mistake. Okay, and set 3. Wow, 32. I almost missed that one because it's so much different than the rest. 98, 100, 101, 115, 124, and then 132. Okay, so now I have my data sets all lined up. I can find my mean, median, and mode fairly easily. I take my calculator, and to find my mean, I'm adding up all of these and dividing by the amount that's there. So 35 plus 35 plus 41 plus 68 plus 83. And I get a total of 262, and I'm going to divide that by the number that's here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And when I divide that by 5, I get roughly 52.4. So that's my mean. My median is the number that's in the middle. So if I go from the outsides in, it looks like 41 is my median. And then my mode is going to be the number that comes up most. You can see that I have 235. So 35 is my mode. All right, let's go ahead and press pause and let's have you guys figure this out. Figure out sets 2 and 3. Okay. All right. So when we come back, you've found the mean, median, mode for the other sets. And you realize that your mean is 12. Your median is actually going to be 12 as well because it's split between your middle two numbers. So you add those together and divide by 2. We get 12. And then our mode is also 12 because it happens the most times. All right. For our next one, our mean, median, and mode. Here you can see that there isn't anything repeated, so there is no mode. But our mean is going to be 100.3, rounding, and then our median, again, we look for what's in the center, and we get 101. All right, so what does this tell us? This is where we want to look for comparing. So we're going to be comparing and contrasting these. So if we look, what's the most even one is probably set 2. This is where our average and our median are the same. For our median and our mean at our first one, it's off by quite a bit, by 11 points. So that means our middle number is 41, but our average amongst them is 52. So there's kind of an outlier there, which this 83 is quite a bit bigger than the rest here. And then for our set 3, we do have this outlier down here, 32. But when we look at our mean and our median, they're pretty much the same. So some things you can look at as well are you could do a histogram. And a histogram, or a box plot is what you're going to want to use. And a box plot is, box and whiskers is what it used to be called when you were in middle school probably. So the box plot is, we look at 4 different quartiles, so 4 sections. So this is going to be our low end and our high end. And then this is our median. And then this piece here is our interquartile range, or IQR. And this is actually pretty good for when we have data that's not symmetrical. And so if it skews either to the left or the right, this helps a lot. So let's look at that again with our information. So for a histogram, let's do our first set. So I'll write up our numbers again. So our set 1, we had 35, 41, 68. Oops, I'm not writing them in order. 35, 35, 41, 68, and then 83. So a histogram works along the number line. Okay? So graph paper would be really helpful, but I'm going to wing it today. 40. All right. So I'm going up by 5s. So I've got a 35 is where my low end is, and my high end is 83. So somewhere right in there. My median was 41. So that is actually right where my middle part is. And so my interquartile range here is not very big because it's really only going, this is my median, going here, and then out here, and then I really don't even have the other quartile. So what you want to use are your numbers. So this is what half is, and then half again of your values, and half again of your values, so that we have this rectangle in the middle. So if we look, 68. There is quite a spread here. This is not symmetrical at all. okay? And what that tells me is that it's kind of all over the place, and it's a smattering of data. So it might be easier. We did one with a few more numbers, so let's use our set 3. Okay, and for set 3, we had 101, 32, 98, 100, 101, 115, 124, and 132. All right, when I do my number line here, say 130, 20, 10, 100, 90, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5. All right. And I'm not completely exact on these, but you could use a graph paper to make it more exact, or you could even just eyeball it like I'm doing here. For your work sample, it's your reasoning and understanding of this. So as long as you can explain and reason with it, you'd be pretty good. So if I was to graph this, I know that my low end is going to be at 32, and my high is at 132. Somewhere right in there. Remember, my median was the 101, okay? So somewhere right in there. So if I look, I've got 1, 2, 3 values to the left, 3 values to the right. 124 is going to split that up for me. So this is the end of my third quartile, and it goes to the fourth one. And 98 would be the end of my, oh, even closer, right here. My second quartile. So my interquartile range here is where my second quartile and my third quartile end. So for here, it's between 198 and 124. So my interquartile range, my IQR, is going to be 26. So that means there's a variance within the biggest grouping together of 26. When you're looking at this is definitely an asymmetrical because our middle is this 101, and this end's very short, and this end's very, very long. When we have asymmetrical data, our interquartile range is going to be best to use because it's going to give us a little more accuracy, and that median is going to be a good. Our standard deviation is really is a good source of average when you're talking about symmetrical data. And then your median and your mean, it kind of depends, but if you've got fairly symmetrical data, then your median and your mean should be pretty close. But here, if I was looking at this, I would say, most everybody or most everything is within this range here, with just a little, 26 points separates these, and not very much. Even if we looked at this, then you've only got 17 points separating them. But the 132 and 32, those are off by a lot more. This definitely more than the other. Okay, so you're going to have some different problems where you're going to have to look at some data sets and analyze it. What does it mean? You know, according to the various situations, these are some things you're going to want to set up. So I'll put some Khan Academy videos on of the box and whisker plot and your interquartiles and standard deviations for you to further investigate. The biggest things to remember again, mean, median, and mode. Put them in order. What do each of these mean? And then how can you interpret it to the problem, so what's happening, okay?